Our guest today has a big passion for people experience. She works for the largest sportswear manufacturer in Europe and the second largest in the world. It's Adidas. Since 2022 years, she's responsible for IT HR projects in the group. And so she's a very experienced project manager, especially for SAP implementation when we talk about rewards, recruiting, and payroll. She says about herself that she loves to grow people and enable teams. She also loves to travel and handball. I think that's also interesting to know. And she's now sitting in Croatia, directly in front of me via Zoom. And I'm really happy that you're with us. Welcome, Manuela Cupic.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being with us. So, this is our first podcast in English. I'm really curious how this will feel, at least for myself. But we had the talk already before and also now some minutes. So, I'm pretty sure that we will not have problems regarding the language. But I'm really curious about the topic we talk about because we said that one of your biggest passion is to enable teams and to create fully committed teams. And that is what we're going to talk about today. So maybe you can just let us know or give us a short introduction. Why is that so important for you? And yeah, why have you such a big passion for people and for growing people?
Thank you. It's a very long story, I would say, but I'll try to make it as short as possible as well. So, as you mentioned, I have been a handballer as well for a very long time, and being in a team is completely something else. It's a different feeling. It's a different growth when you are doing a team sport rather than being an individual sport, which is equally hard. But I think in a team sport, you have to always adjust yourself to others and also how to fit in the team as well. Towards like almost end of my career, I was also being a captain of the handball team, especially when we were going high up in the first league. And you just have a different responsibility, and you have to build some trust, you have to build some commitment, and you have to have your team together with you to actually win something as well. And I don't know, somehow that passion was following me also when I joined my company, Adidas, 22 years ago. And I always knew there is something that, and I also started in HR as well, or let's say IT, and I was always passionate about people. I was always passionate about how to bring also these values, team values, into my team as well and beyond. So has been a great journey so far. I also have quite a few people that I'm taking care of, and for me, it's very, very, very important to keep that team spirit, to keep that engagement as well, because without a team and without people that you have and you make them successful, then your success is also questionable. So that's like in a nutshell, if you will, my experience as of now.
Yeah, perfect. That was a nice interview with you. Thank you. No, but
You're very welcome.
it sounds so easy, but I think it's not because
No.
you mentioned a lot of very important words. I think the team spirit, for example. But what I
Yes.
really liked is yeah, that you showed, let's say, the relationship between sports and business, because I think we can learn a lot when we see the behavior of a team in sports and when we transfer this to the business. So you said you were the captain also in handball. So
Mhm.
is that comparable, let's say, with being a team leader or a manager in the team?
Yes, I would say yes, absolutely. So I can share with you maybe how I got hired as well 22 years ago. And even being handball was actually, and of course, applying for a big sports brand. I went for an interview and I was all armed up with like, what is SAP, why I want to be in SAP, etc. It was a 4 hour interview, like the first and the second at the same day. And the only thing they wanted to know about me is about my sports career and about my behavior in the team and about leading the team. And leaving that interview, I was like, why? Like I didn't really understood why it was not at that time, why was that so much important as well. But after working there and also building that experience, I realized as well how much team and building the team and having people with you, not only, in your team, but also having people around, how much successful that can make you, but also everything around everybody around you as well. In my handball career, it was just a crazy time as well. I was also injured several times as well, but I was always visited by my team colleagues, always being hopped up. Hey, you need to come back. And then you just go, you just go. You fail, you go again. You fail, you go again. But having people around you to push you and to believe in you was actually the deal breaker as well. And for the first 10 years, I would say, in my career, as well, I was more like a team player, not really a team lead as well. And then after 10 years, my career took a different path. And then suddenly from being a team member, I became a team lead. And that was super tough, with someone with whom you play or with whom you work every day on the same level. Suddenly you become a manager of the same, right? Suddenly you have to lead them. Suddenly you have to tell them what to have to do, what is good or what is not so good. And it was the toughest year, I have to say, of my career to actually prove myself, as we girls like to do. We need to prove ourselves first before we start performing.
Yeah.
At least that's in our mind, not really the case, or it shouldn't be the case. And I have to say that was the most challenging period as well in that first year, how to become a team leader versus being only a team player.
I can imagine. In Germany, most of the time we have some special trainings for that, what we call from the
Yes,
colleague to the manager, something
yes,
like that. But I would like
yes.
to point out the statement you made, because you said we have in our mind that we need to prove ourselves to really be able to fulfill this position. Can you go
Correct.
a little more in detail what exactly
Sure,
you mean?
absolutely. It's kind of funny you pick it up because right now also this diversity and inclusion is very, very hot topic since the last few years, but also in our company, like in every other company, it's also in our company. I'm also leading a one women mentoring circle as well at my company. And it's really interesting how the girls are very much first proving yourself. We really tend to prove ourselves before we go and apply for the next level because we feel we are not ready or we feel that it's still something missing to go into the next level. Whereas without being disrespectful and without being saying whether it's right or wrong, men tend to just go ahead and do it, whether they are ready for that next level or not. And I think us women have to learn to do the same as well and stop also or challenge ourselves. Why am I not ready for the next level? What else is there for me to do? And not being a perfectionist. And we tend to do so. We are equally successful, I would say, also as men. We just choose to go with a different path. And that's something that I'm really passionate about. And I'm also mentoring my ladies as well, that I do believe that, we are ready for the next level, whatever this might be. It doesn't have to always be going up. You could always be a side move as well. But just don't think you have to be perfect for that. Just go for it, try it out. And what is the worst that can happen? You fail and you move on. You got injured, you heal, you go on. So it's really how much you push yourself as well, and how much you want to give of yourself for being the next. And some, to be fair, men or women, it doesn't really matter, choose to stay where they are because they're happy with what they do.
Yes.
And that's also okay. It's nothing wrong with that. So that's would be, I would say, my experience and definitely my drive.
Yeah, and that's a fair statement, I think. But I think it's important because you mentioned that. I think it's also a kind of task of a manager or a team leader to really know the people and to give them the support to go the next step if they want to. And I think that brings us a little more into the direction how to build a fully committed team, because I think it's one of the essential tasks of a team lead to really know the individuals and to know their strengths and their weaknesses.
So it's funny you say that because that's exactly how I was selected when I was going through the
Oh,
interview as well. And every time I interview as well, I always say the topic you can learn. You can learn SAP, you can learn Workday, you can learn whatever out there skills you can learn how to program. Sorry. But what you cannot learn is behavior. You can adjust the behavior. You can train it in a certain occasions. But I think deeply who you are, it makes you really a trusted person. So when I'm going and interview someone, I really don't care which diploma you have, which education you have. I want to know what drives you. I want to know what pushes your red button. I want to know what makes you happy. What would make you happy in that job? How do you respond to teamwork? Because we are all managers, we all depend on each other. And at the end of the day, we are just humans. And I think also that if if you can rely on someone at any time of day and night, that's your person you want to have in your team. But that also means for you that you need to be there for this person, no matter whether it's a day or night, if this person going to struggle. And that's how you build this team spirit, and that's how you build also that trust that moves you forward, right? And that's super important for me. It's who you are, what your qualities are, what you believe in. And also don't be shy of showing your weaknesses. Absolutely. Because you can only make them better. And don't also be afraid to show your strengths or, pull them, because you can also do this. Again, not better, but also you can grow in everything and you can grow every day. And I think that's the most important quality and characteristic of a person to become my not only my team, but I believe that that's the way of we should all think when hiring. The hard skills you can always learn. The hard
Yes.
skills you can always learn. Soft skills, it could be a challenge. Let's put it this
I absolutely agree, but I really like that you say that because I know so many managers who still, starting the interview with asking, "Oh, let me know your CV and what is your expertise." And I really like that you say, "No, start directly with the person. Who are you, and what values are important for you? What are your
way.
strengths? What are your weaknesses?" I really like that you say that.
And honestly, my favorite question to ask when I'm hiring, describe yourself within 3 words,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And if this person needs, I don't know how many sentences to describe, and it doesn't matter really what the 3 words are. It really doesn't matter. It's just, can you describe yourself in 3 words?
Yeah.
Because then the person is showing the willingness, thinking like spot on, immediately react on few things. There are so many things you can read and listen out of this, just 3 words. Okay, if it's 4 or 5, that's fine. But don't, tell me the book. Don't tell me the stories, who you are, because then you are just dancing around the topic and you know, you can start questioning whether you really know what you want, or maybe you are still in a phase where you are discovering what you want. Two
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah, I like that you pointed out, let's say, because I know that is for some interviewers, it's a typical question, but they are just waiting for the 3 words or the answer. They are not checking how is the behavior, how is the situational behavior of the candidate, or is this person really on point, or is it like you said, more dancing around? I think that is the importance, what we should
Absolutely.
have a view on in the interviews, and not only the words they use, right?
Exactly. And I always, besides that question, I always say, tell me three things that you would like to improve. And very rarely you hear something, maybe one, maybe if you're lucky two, but three never. But the first three, like what you're good at, and that's also a sign, how you are perceived as well. And it's always, you also look like, okay, what are those 3 words? Or for example, what presses your red button? You can immediately see, what, and then also, how do you get out of that phase, if you will, being completely, hyped on a whatever subject you have, and how do you cool down? What cools you down as well? Because there are difficult situations in life, right?
Sure.
At work, in private, and what is your, let's say, safe harbor where you come in, cool down, and then you respond. Equally important.
Absolutely. So, for all the interviewers who listen to us or the recruiters, please sit down and write down the questions, and also not only what is the answer behind, but really have a view. Let's say observe the candidate and really see how they behave. And I think that's really interesting because I know some candidates who really put into Google, "I have an interview. What are the standard questions?" But I really like that it's not only the words they use in the end, but it's really how do they behave? Do they have to think about it? Because I think that's also interesting to have a kind of interpretation. How will they behave in the team? And I think that's also important. If you hire someone, it needs to be a fit for the team, right?
Absolutely. And that's, I mean, my team will always tell you they know how important this is for me to have a really team feeling, team spirit, and a commitment to the team. So that's, sorry for that. Teams just went crazy at my computer as well. No, but that's one thing that it's. I can also give you a little example during the COVID,
Yeah.
right? Half of my team is sitting in Porto and half of the team is sitting in Herzogenaurach. And for everyone, that was a really, really challenging time at the time as well. And I was like, how do I keep the team up? How do I, you are wondering, what do we do? Do we have a job? Do we don't have a job? Every company was struggling how they are going to go through the period as well. And of course, not going out, of course, the sales goes down as well. So it was pretty tough. And then I came up with, okay, team, let's meet twice a week, Monday and Thursday. In fact, today is one of the days as well. And let's just play games. Once a week, once in 2 weeks, we play a game, whichever that game is, or we simply, vent, or we simply talk about what has been your weekend, has been your weekend, what did you learn, what did you not learn, did you read any interesting book? And that we kept it for 2 times a week throughout the whole COVID time. And then maybe a few months after COVID, I was asking the team, hey guys, I don't mind, I would love to keep this, but would you like to keep this? Because it was still like a lot of team bonding, right? And I said, if you want to reduce it, because we are all like super busy and everything, but would you like to reduce it to once a week just to check in? It's not obligatory. You just come in if you have time. If you not, if you stay for 10 minutes, you stay 15 minutes or half an hour, it doesn't really matter. And then each one of them said, no, we want to keep it, and we want to keep it for twice a week. And we just want to continue as we are today, and we just hop on and off as it goes. And I'm like, wow. I was giving them an opportunity to say yes or no. And I wasn't really sure what to expect as well, because it was a special time. But then even today, and still, we actually have every Monday and Thursday, half an hour team check-in, and to talk about everything else besides work.
That's pretty
And
cool.
I'm super proud of that. Then we have a Christmas event, and then we all dress up in something red, and then we do a team, we do a big picture as well as a team, because I have a remote team anyway, so there is no other way to do it. But I'm just so proud because they are taking the ownership. It's
Yes.
not me who is driving, and it's always one or the other says, oh, I did this and that. Let's do this, let's play a game, etc. So I'm super proud that this, let's say, horrible period also brought us even close together. And yet, it's still not myself or my direct reports only being responsible for managing. It's like literally self-managed between 24 people
Hmm.
almost. So I'm very proud of that, I have to say.
I can understand that. I would also be very proud if I were you. But I think you said so many important things that I would like to split that a little.
Sure.
But the first thing which is still in my mind is that you said you had the kind of bonding from the team within those meetings, and I think that's really interesting because I mean, when you open the internet and you start to Google how to build a team or something like that, it doesn't matter if you're a leader, a manager, a HR person, but what you always will find is to make a team building event, to let the team go out for a day and I don't know, build something crazy just to have this special event. But I think it's really interesting that you say they have created a bonding within those regular meetings, let's say within
Mhm.
the business, right? It's not something special.
Mhm.
You do it within the working hours.
Correct.
So maybe you can explain a little why you choose this way and not, I don't know, go out and climb a big hill or something like that.
Well, it's difficult because we live, like, first of all, half of my team is in Porto and the other
Yeah,
half is in Herzo. So it's a little bit difficult to have a physical event, right? What we do typically then in Herzo, we do go for lunch together on top of, and also with the home office is a little bit also more difficult to say, hey, just come over for the team event and we do something, right? We do regularly go for Christmas blue wine as well, Herzo
sure.
team, and Porto team does the same, right? So let's outside of office hours. But we also choose a little bit of like a quiet time in the day,
Hmm.
towards the end of the day, where everybody can join. Porto team and Herzo team together, and then we simply talk, you know. And what is really important, sometimes some people talk more, some people talk less. And what you just do is like, if somebody's a little bit quieter, a little bit more shy, which is absolutely a normal thing to do, you pick him up. Like, hey, how are you doing? How has been your day? And even just the two words comes out, it's okay. It's nothing wrong with that. Whereas you have other team members that are just, they will just fill the half an hour as well. And with that. But it's also important, I think, to share something personal. And I'm always the one who is sharing a lot of personal stuff, I would say, because I want to show that there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing, I'm not sharing something that, something spectacular or something like, I hit my car last weekend and I
Okay.
had so many problems with my car. And
Yeah.
then we just talk about this completely work stuff because our weeks has been, especially now in the last year or so, with our big project SAP Go Live, we were just all swamped with work. And my team told me we are hardly even going for coffee, we are hardly even going for lunch. And I'm like, okay, that meeting now is now mandatory just for you to talk about anything else besides work. We even have a rule, whoever starts talking about work at lunch has to pay a coffee for everyone
Perfect.
because that's that hour that you are not supposed to talk about work. It's enough the other 8 hours to talk about work. And this is what brings team bonding together, I believe as well. And I have a very little turnover in the team as well, and which I'm really proud of. And of course, turnover happens, that's super
Sure.
normal. But the core of the team has been stable for many years as well, and if you feel the difference, you definitely feel the difference.
Yeah. You said it's you call it quiet time, is that right? And it's
Yes,
it's the end of every day. So I just
it's
wanted to understand
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. It's
circumstances or
towards
the
end of the
framework.
day. It's towards end of the day, 4:15 every Monday and every Thursday.
Okay.
And Monday after the weekend, normally we are all in, and just blah 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 blah. What happens over the weekend?
Yeah.
And then on Thursday, it's like maybe half a team because the other half is on meetings. Then they check in for 5 minutes just to say hello and then they drop off. But we still continue to keep it because it's important for them and it's important for me. And I really am happy that it's important for them to keep this.
Yeah.
And it's totally optional. It's not mandatory, it's optional. And they enjoy and I enjoy. And we still keep that bond, even between the two locations, we still keep that bond.
Yeah. I think that's I like that idea behind because I think it's not only interesting for the remote teams, let's say, but I think it can also be a kind of offer for people who are sitting in the same area. So I think it's not necessary to really be separated as your team is, but the
Yeah.
idea behind I think is the important one to just yeah, give the chance to have a meeting room if it's virtual or let's say in real. That's
Yeah.
something different, but just to give the opportunity to have a special time and room where to meet
Yes.
if you want or not. I think that's the idea we should keep from you because no, I think that's really interesting because think you said something very important. It's a time where it's not allowed to talk about work. And I think that's something very special because whenever I think about teams in the business context, it's work, 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 work. So
And you have enough of that, the other 8, 9 hours a day, right?
yeah,
So why not spending at work that half an hour, 15 minutes just to switch off, just to see your friends and your colleagues that you work with every day and you talk about everything and nothing,
yeah,
right? So sometimes our calls are even just for 10 minutes. Hey, how is everybody? And either you see faces and sometimes we go for 45 minutes. It really depends. How is the day? Is there anything they want to share? You immediately see the faces when they log in. You see the faces. Are they in a good mood? Are they in a bad mood? And then you kind of just like to cheer up as well. And it's working well. This is now almost for 4 years, right? And we still have it twice a week.
yeah. I think there's something very important between the lines, what you said, because you said when they enter this virtual room, you see the faces and you see already,
Yes,
is this person happy or not?
yes,
But I think this is so important when we talk about the team feeling, because it's important to know each other and to also be there for each other and to maybe sometimes just to listen. It's not always that you need to have an idea or that you speak up, but it's just to support each other.
absolutely. And honestly, you never know what is behind it. It could easily be I have a stomach pain, or I've woke up in the wrong foot, or I had a bad meeting, or whatever. And regularly, either myself or someone, if it's a direct team lead, you check in on the person right after. And it's a completely different, like, is everything okay? Is there anything I can do for you? Because we all have also life outside of work. And it's not always work that makes you happy or unhappy when you are showing up at work. So I think it's important then, and then you start building that trust. And for me, the trust is number one thing in the team and for the team as well, because without trust, there is not so much success. And you need to work for it. It's not given. It's not given if somebody comes in the team or you as a manager or whoever this might be. It's not given that you immediately have a trust from a person just because you became a manager or you just became a part of the team. That's a work. That's a lot of work.
So sorry for the sad news to everyone, but it's work behind. So you cannot just start and then
Yeah,
trust is there.
but if you enjoy it, and if you believe in it, it's super easy. You know, it's super easy.
Would you say there's a special secret to build the trust?
I would say you need to be open. You need to listen the other person, and you just have to be open for everything that comes your way, good or bad, because otherwise you don't know, what happened to the other person, and ultimately you don't know, the other person doesn't know what happened with you on that particular day. And if you don't talk about it face to face and you're just being quiet, it can go bad rather quickly. So I would definitely encourage everyone talk to each other. Good times, bad times, put it on the table, resolve it, whatever this might be, and move on. There is always a way to move on, right or wrong, but it's always the way.
Yeah, I think that's really what comes to my mind is that we talk so often about appreciation and how to do that. But I think that what you said is exactly how to do it. Just
Yes,
to see a person and to be the human, let's say, to be the human and say, hey, I think you're not looking good today, or as good as normal, however you want to say. But
yeah,
just to realize it and to be human and really say it and not think, oh no, maybe something's not okay, but it's not my job to do it. I think that's maybe the special part to really be there for the people and really realize it and
yes,
also talk about it and not ignoring it.
absolutely. I think with that, the team bonding cannot be, anything else but fantastic. Um, I'm not a person, I have to be fair, I'm not a person that it's praising a lot. Like I give my gratitude in a lot of different ways. I give the stage to someone, I put them out there. And when I do praise, and I regularly praise my team, when the right situation comes, they are like, now I've deserved it, which is in a lot of cases, I would say maybe not my biggest quality ever, but I'm working on that, and I'm always picking up always on the smaller stuff, you did well today, because I know it means a lot to the other person. I'm also a handball coach as well.
Mm-hmm.
And even like I'm coaching 15-year-olds. And just recently, I'm very passionate about coaching. I'm very passionate about handball. That's my number one sport. And I found myself that I'm only yelling at them because I want to teach them something and not because I don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
And then just a couple of weeks ago, I started like, hey, I'm not praising them enough. I'm not praising what they do, what they do well. So I started, hey, you did, this one and this one, this one. And then somewhere like really accidentally, I heard two boys say, ich habe das gut gemacht. Hast du das gesehen? Ich habe das gut. And I'm like, oh my God, they should hear this more,
Okay.
because then the improvement is a lot more and the joy is a lot more. So I also see that, with my team. In the meantime, I do it regularly, but I didn't realize how much actually this means to the 15-year-old boys who are just growing, right?
Yes.
It's definitely a different audience, let's put it this way.
To be honest, I'm just thinking if it's really a different audience, because I also know a lot of adults who are still waiting for be praised or for yeah, give the applause to them. I think it's something very normal in our community, let's say, that yeah, people would like to be praised, right?
Absolutely. Yes. So maybe I was just too much hooked up in work, and I did, like you said in the beginning, I did a lot of trainings when I started with the leadership, and you grow as you go,
Sure.
right? So I'm not the same person that I was 10 years ago when I started taking over the first time the team. Today, I would say I'm a completely different leader than I used to be. I made a lot of mistakes that I regret that I did just because I didn't know. I didn't know better, and I was adjusting and I was trying to find my way, right? I think I'm a completely different person, by far more empathic than I was at that time, because I was just trying, okay, what do I do? You are a manager from one day to another to a people that you work with, right? How do you behave? Some of them know even more than you. They just chose not to go into the path that I decided. So here I feel very comfortable when I'm at work. But then you get like, I just started 6 months ago coaching these 15-year-old kids who are clearly in a puberty as well, and clearly different discipline required as well. And I just came all enthusiastic, and I want to teach them, and I'm doing this for the benefits, and then I realized almost like maybe I was too strong, you know,
Yeah, too sharp.
maybe I need to lose up a little bit to give them a little bit more confidence. So I start doing this as well, and it's working. So yes, you could argue it's the same thing, but somehow the audience is different, and it's my different area of comfort or different area of responsibility. So I'm still learning on that one. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty cool that you share it with us, because it sounds like you are again in a kind of manager coaching position, and I would really be interested to meet you in 10 years again and ask what
Hey,
how
I'll be retired hopefully in 10 years.
yeah, but you know what I mean.
I
It's
know.
just you will also make a journey in this direction. But I think that's so important to share, because I see a lot of leaders or managers who really, let's say, want to start in this position and be directly on top and be the best manager and be better than the managers you had before. And it's a kind of yeah, I think it's not possible to do that because, like you said, it's really experience and try and fail and
Yeah.
again and learn on the path. At least that is what I understood from what you said, and also to get a better feeling how to bring the team together, right? Um, it's just something.
I'll tell you a funny story if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
I'm coaching two teams, right? I'm coaching Bejugen, which is like 15-year-olds, and then I'm also coaching adults,
Mm-hmm.
also men as well. Again, different world, right? But I love them. I love both teams as well. And we just started a season, and we lost 4 games of four, and it
Oh,
broke my heart. And we went up the league again. And I just didn't know. And we just started again very on a wrong foot. We lost two games that we shouldn't have lost, and we played again on Saturday, sorry. And I spoke to the other coach, and I'm like, how do we bring them back up? How do we overcome that? The self-awareness, the
The
how do you
confidence.
say? Confidence, thank you, has been really low.
Mm.
And we are playing again on Saturday. That was last Saturday. We are playing a team that we never won. And we play as Gast
Oh, yeah.
as well. And it was Wednesday. We had a training. And I said to the other coach, I want to do today something else. We won't teach them how to play handball in one training before the game. Let's try to do something else. He was like, what? I'm like, you know what? Let's put handball aside and let's do a football tournament. And I can tell you, football for handballers is the one and only important things that they want to do, and they want to warm up and they want to play, and it's football is everything to them. And you would think, how did they ever become handballers, right? So I took 45 minutes. I did a little tournament with rewards as well. So they got rewards, and I said, this is this is how it's going to look like. And then we did a little tournament with the one thing that they love the most, and that's football. And then I told them that the winning team is still not the winning team, but the other two teams can challenge the winning team in football to do jumping in a sack.
Yeah.
What we were doing with the kids.
I
Imagine
know.
doing that. And I was really afraid how they are going to react on that, because ultimately they are adults,
Yes.
right? And I'm like, I will just give it a go. I'll just give it a go and see what happens, right? Because the confidence needs to come up, and whatever happens on Saturday, it happens. And we did a tournament, and I can tell you, these guys have been running up and down, throwing themselves after the ball. Like, honestly, I said, like, how on earth you cannot do the same in the handball game, but here you are throwing yourselves everywhere. So the tournament was finished, and then we did the suck thing,
Yep.
right? And honestly, that was the biggest laugh we have ever had as well. And we finished the training, and I gave them the rewards, and I actually gave them, even we'll laugh now, I gave them a bottle of Slivovitz,
Oh, that's pretty
right?
cool. Yes.
And I said, you can only open it if you win on Saturday.
Oh, that's a challenge.
Eh, exactly. And then we went to the game, and you could see it was a completely different spirit. Like, we started winning from minute one. You could see that everybody was committed, everybody was in the game, and everybody wanted to win. And honestly, sometimes I feel I'm just simply too old for the heart attacks that I had throughout the game, because we led to come too close. We were winning the whole game. And then at the end of the game, we actually won.
That's pretty cool.
And that, yeah. And a friend of mine actually told me that the spirit after that event on Wednesday in the cabina was fantastic. That they were laughing all the time. They were really happy and they had a good time, because you can't teach them that one last 45 minutes something handball. If you didn't learn that for the last 10 years, you won't learn it in the next 45 minutes to go. And so I sacrificed, if so call it,
Hmm.
that time just to put the team together again, to feel the win, to want to win, to have fun with each other again, and just switch off of handball,
Yep. Put the
right?
pressure away.
Put the pressure away and give them what they love the most. Even though I hate it, they all know and love. But I said, you take one thing that you love the most, and that's what you do. And we were driving on the Saturday after the game. They won, and they were so super happy. And I was over the moon as well. And I was driving to Croatia, and they were all celebrating, and they were sending me pictures, with the bottle of schnapps.
Cool.
And honestly, I was the most happier person, like driving home and thinking, if that's what it takes to bring a bottle of schnapps, let me tell you, I'll bring many of them back from Croatia
Yeah,
as
please
well.
do so.
But I just wanted to say, in some situations as tough as this one, no matter what it is, find the joy, find something that will keep your mind away, to re-energize again, to find what you love to do most, and then try to bring that back again. Whether it's a reward, I mean, it was symbolic reward, right?
Yeah.
But it's still they just gain again the confidence that they can do it as well. And I know that they can, and they can as well. It was just unfortunate first 4 games. And now we have our first 2 points. And I'm not saying that the next game is going to be better, but at least they know now, oh, okay, we can do it, a bit of confidence is back. So let's build on top of it, right?
Hmm.
So I can only tell you they were happy, but I was even more happy.
But it's interesting that you say that because I think there's a relationship between each other. Because if you are really a leader, a person by heart, that's one of your biggest goals to have a good performing team, which is really committed and really, let's say, growing together, so that they want to go in the same direction. That is
Yeah,
how I would describe it.
yeah,
So I think there's a strong connection behind, and maybe that is one of the secrets that you really, as a leader, need to be passionate about
yeah,
really building a team, and not focus on individuals and their tasks and that we fulfill the work, but really to see it as a whole team. Is that one of the secrets?
absolutely. And they very much appreciate, we us girls, we are very different. We go and train with Smash and we are like really fighting. And with men, honestly, you never know how they will come on a training, whether the finger hurts, the hair hurts, like the headache they have. You never know if they're committed or not, at least in my team. And I know that it's not so different to other teams in our
Hmm.
league as well. But then sometimes they show you really the respect. They show you and they show you they care and they want to show you, yeah, we can do it. You are investing so much in us. We will show you now we can do the same.
Yeah.
And it cannot, it's just the feeling is amazing. And I don't do it for me, like I don't, for me, it's like I want them to feel that spirit. I want them to feel that they can do it, that bring that confidence back again, that they are worth it,
Yeah.
that they are worth two of us coming every twice a week, bring the 90 minutes with them. And then you see you are building that culture like, okay, somebody depends on me. Somebody needs me to be there. Somebody needs me to bring my 100%,
Yep.
right? And that's
Yep.
exactly how I do at work.
Yeah, that would be my next question. How can we transfer this to the business? But you started already, so maybe you can just give us some more insights on that. I mean, you have the 2 meetings already on Monday
Yeah.
and Thursday. Of course part of it. But is there something more?
Um, I think, I mean, I personally, in the meantime, everywhere I can, I praise them. I praise our success and I give them the stage.
Okay.
I don't need to be present on the stage. I mean, that's the teamwork, right? So we have a couple of meetings now coming up where we are going to celebrate our success with the project go live. It's not going to be me who is presenting it because at the end of the day, I was only holding them together. I was making sure that they are set for success, but they are the ones that they deliver success. That's success.
Yeah.
And I think with that, they are more than capable to be on the stage and describe that success and celebrate, you know?
Yeah.
And us managers, I think we should be there in the background and really support them because that's how you support the growth. Because eventually I or anyone else will move on, whatever that position, the company, whatever is going to be. And you want to leave something behind. You want to leave some values. You want to embed some sort of quality, some values, some passion behind it. And everybody's its own person. I'm not saying that somebody should be exactly like me. But I do think that whoever comes after me or beside me has to share the same values because only then you can get the best out of these people. If you bring them together, if you value them, if you take out of them and you grow them, and at the same time show where maybe there is a lack of the same, you foster that development, right? And that's how they need to have the stage. And
Mm.
ultimately, I myself would not be successful if there wouldn't be for them. So I think it's just fair that they also be on the stage and show what they are capable of.
Yeah. So when you say stage, it's really that they take the responsibility for a project, let's say, but also they do the communication. Or how? What exactly do you mean with
So,
stage?
so for me, the stage is, first of all, I take the accountability, whether it failed or whether it's success.
Okay.
That's from my point of view, there are good times and there are bad times. If you are a good manager, you need to be there for both. You don't throw anybody else under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
But when there's a stage of really showing what you have done, right? That you're literally speaking in front of people, then it's them. Then when we are talking about success, then it's them. If it didn't come yet to a point, if there was no success, I cannot say that, how I would react. I don't know. I imagine I would go because I stand in front of the team.
Mm-hmm.
But for success, I'd rather have them to go and show what they have done, right? And I want people to see who is behind it and what they have done to get there.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that's by far more valuable. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. Nobody's perfect, right? But I do think that people that are taking the hard work and the heavy load are the ones that needs to speak up.
Okay, so let's say let's make it a little more practical because that's just to make it
Sure.
better understandable. So let's say you're implementing an IT software, so it's that your team is taking over the conversation part, the training part, the project management part, and you
Yeah.
are not really visible. Let's say it's more that you are in the back, you are part of the meetings, but you are not the
So,
person where somebody's calling or.
so I'm saying more like, first of all, I need to enable them to be successful, right? So I'm pulling all the strings in the back. I'm showing up in front of SLT. I'm defending whether we have enough capacity, whether they're overworked, whether they're underworked.
Okay.
I give the directions where it has to go. Now, in this case, like we just went live with the biggest implementation we have ever done on the 1st of October as well. And I think in a couple of weeks, we have our town hall with our managers as well. And with the whole team of my manager, which is 300 people, it will not be me talking.
Mm-hmm.
It will be 2 team members or 3 team members that will present what they did. Because I think that it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, because you want
That's
them
what
to
I
be
mean.
celebrated.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
want them because they have carried the hard work, right? As a manager, I really don't think that I should be in the front line for such a big success. Of course, I have done quite some work, but I do think that they are the ones that needs to take the credit for it.
But I think that's mindset, right? It's mindset how
Yes.
you see your job as the manager or the leader.
Yeah. I mean, some people do it differently. Some people do it differently. I really,
Yeah.
like I said, I really cannot say whether it's right or wrong. I don't know. I
I
just,
mean,
at that moment of time, I do believe that they are the ones that needs to have a stage. And if the things are not going well, I will have a stage because, I maybe didn't do something right. Maybe did not. So you have every situation is something you can learn out of.
yes.
And I think in that situation, it should be me who needs to stand and take the, blame or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just who I am, right or wrong.
Yeah, but I have to say that that's really familiar to me because Ivan, my colleague, he's really he's always saying if something goes wrong in your team, you as the manager, the first thing you have to do is go to the next mirror and have a look into it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, that's very true.
Yes.
That's
So
very
that's
true.
exactly what you said.
Think alike. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah. So I think
definitely.
that's something really important for really building a committed team to also be clear what is your own expectation of yourself as a manager, right? How would you like to be your team seen in the company?
Yes,
How would you like to present your team in the company?
yes. And honestly, treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, super, super important, right? And honestly, I have been doing their job for 15 years pretty much. So I know what it needs to be done. I know how much you have to work. I know how much, you have to be concentrated to do that. And it helps me also to
Hmm.
appreciate even more. and also help gives me an opportunity to defend. If people like in the last few months of the project, they have just been overworked. And I was keep telling like my SLT, I need to stop this. We will move the timeline. I need to stop this because I need those people also after go live as well.
Yep.
And it was a lot of back and forth and a lot of, but we did manage, and they were grateful. They got 30 days more as well. And honestly, what happened after that, when we announced that 30 days more, they, from working 10 hours, they went like woof, because they felt so confident. Now we have time, and now we have enough time to not fail. We will succeed. And we were one day early.
Yep.
And now it's kind of funny, which is a contra fact, and I talked about it with my colleagues. They're so hyped up now. They're like, okay, what do we do now? And now,
Yeah.
I have a problem how to cool them down, how to bring them back into the normal behavior, in a normal execution, because they saw so much success and they were so hyped, so much adrenaline,
Yep.
that now it's like, oh, guys, enjoy the time now when you actually work your normal hours, right? Because we all have crazy hours to work sometimes, and sometimes not so crazy hours, right? And simply that go live was a peak. Like for every IT project, whoever is doing IT projects knows what I'm talking about. So it's now I have a different problem, but a nicer one.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think you mentioned one topic. What you said, it's also about the own values. But I'm just curious, do you also have created a kind of team values, or is that more something which is really within the team, just by meeting each other, knowing each other? So is there kind of hidden values, or do you also have something very visible where you say, okay, we are very, I don't know, transparent in our communication, or whatever it is?
So I'm not sure, I don't know if there are values per se we have as a company. We actually presented a lot of values, team play, and
Mhm.
integrity and everything. And I stand behind all of them. Um, and I just want, like I said earlier, it's very important that you stand behind what you do.
Mhm.
I will back you up if you fail. I don't care. You fail, you move on, and you learn something out of it. But don't blame it someone else. If you want to talk about values, one of them is accountability. You know, um, and I think if everybody sticks to it, we will be by far more successful. If it's my success, it's my success. If it's my failure, it's my failure.
Yeah.
But then we learn out of it. Trust is the other one, like I said earlier as well. Um, Relying on each other, it's super important as well. So we don't really talk about values per se. We talk about more, it's almost like it is who we are. It comes by default.
Yes. Yes.
And um, and that's what I meant when I said earlier, when I'm hiring, I'm looking to see what is that your values are. What are the things that you believe in? What are the things that you want to, and just be honest to me. What are the things you want to improve? What are somebody maybe says, I'm late every time, 10 minutes to work. I'm always late. Okay, at least you have been honest about you're always late. So I never expect you to come on time. But I do expect you to do your work, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's that these are the things that we value amongst each other as well, and it just makes us a very strong team. And what I also don't, of course, I'm a senior director. My title is the title that I have, but in these meetings, I'm one of them. My
Mhm.
direct reports, we are just like we are colleagues. You need help. I configured that maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago. I still remember this person will come to me and ask, I'm 20 years plus in this company, and if you cannot reach the other colleague, they call me normally, and then I call in someone else and hey, help me out. So it's like we use each other networks, we use each other's people, friends, whatever, and things gets always done. And that's how you just continue.
Mhm. Okay,
I
so
don't
it's
know
not
the better
always,
way to
yeah, it's not
describe it.
always the difference between colleague and being the boss, let's say. So sometimes it's just that you switch the roles,
Yes,
whatever your team needs.
yes, yes. And why not? I mean, what am I going to do with all this knowledge that I carried?
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I was one of them. I was doing that work. So why would I not share that knowledge? Why would I not show in the table? And it's also with that you give your colleagues and your team, oh, she does know, like she will
Yep.
not send me left or right. She will consult me what the right thing to do. And honestly, why would I take it? Why would I keep it for myself? I want my team to be successful and also my colleagues around me
Mm-hmm.
as well. Because a lot of people come and go, and there is only a handful of people that are still there the day that I started.
Yeah.
So why we not use that power, if you will, and help each other
Yep.
and do
But
the right thing?
that's another interesting topic, I think, to share the knowledge. And I mean, that's exactly what you do, but what is also possible within the team, right? So that they really know, okay, I have a problem, I can call this colleague or I can call this one,
Mhm.
and they will help each other. That's
Oh
also, I
God,
think,
yeah,
very important when we talk about committed teams.
absolutely. I was even proud when I still remember something from that time, like, oh, this is what I did. I still know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're always laughing around that as well.
Yeah. Do you, because that's a question which came up to my mind when we talk about, yeah, let's say also, for example, your IT implementation or SAP implementation. Do you also commit the team on goals or on performance goals? So
Yes.
like hitting the target or
Yes, yes. So I think every company, like we do, has the goals as well throughout the year. We
not
have them on a
every,
half.
but most.
Okay, most of the companies, let's say, yes, they do.
Yes.
And also Adidas is building that culture of also how, behavioral aspect is also very important as well.
Okay.
I mean, we are 80 plus nations in the company as well, and we all come from different culture, simply different values as well, and that's okay. And you need to respect each other as well. But yes, we do have the goals, and we have also personal goals, and work goals
Hmm.
as well. And then you simply go through the evaluation. But you shouldn't wait as a manager. You shouldn't wait, half a year to tell them you have done it right or you have not done it right, right? You have to talk to this person pretty much every meeting, one-on-one that you have. I have it personally every week with my direct reports. You have to talk about the progress. You have to talk about hard things. You have to talk about the good things, and everything. What did you learn out of it? How will you apply it differently? And everybody has its own management style, and everybody has its own values as well. But they're all clear. What are my values? And I cannot teach you how to be a good leader or not a good leader, but I can teach you what are the values that I believe in.
Hmm.
And I want my whole team to grow under those values as well. And this is super important for me. How you do it, it's also some people do it differently, some people do it differently, and you adjust to the leadership style as well. And we are all different,
Sure.
right? But yeah, we do have the goals and we have also evaluations as well, yearly, half year and yearly evaluations.
Okay, so it sounds like the typical management by objectives in that
Yes.
direction. Okay, of course I'm familiar with it.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
I think you mentioned something. You have business goals, but also personal development goals.
Yes.
Let's call it that way. So
Yes.
can you just make the
Sure.
difference a little more clear?
Sure. So it depends if you are a people leader or a non-people leader, right?
Okay.
So as a personal goals, I believe that you always have to learn. So you have to learn your hard skills. But if you are a people leader, you have to go and if you're a new leader, if you're an old leader or whatever, you have to learn. I did it as well. How to become a good leader.
Hmm.
How to be a leader that people look up to, right? How do you grow others as well? So there is one part of this personal development target, and the other one is hard skills, right? So hard skills meaning you need to learn success factors, or you need to learn SAP, or you need to learn, I don't know, some other trainings that will help you to do your job,
Yep.
right?
I have Excel in mind, but
Yeah, Excel. Oh
that's
God, yeah,
maybe
yeah. I
ten
even
years
went,
ago.
yeah, yes, I did the same.
Yeah.
I did a PowerPoint as well. But these are the hard skills that you learn, and that's kind
Yeah.
of your personal development as well. But I'm putting more emphasis on people skills. It's how.
Yeah.
So that's
That's funny that you say because I have that in mind. When I was working as an HR in a global company, they started to implement a new way of management by objectives. So in the past, it was only the what. So did you achieve the
Uh-huh.
goals or not? And then they wanted to switch it in two factors, like you said. It's what do they achieve and also how. So there was a kind of structure behind. I just have to remember a little. It's been a while, but it was really related to the company values and how you wanted the leaders, let's say, to behave. So you said,
Yes.
for example, be empathetic,
Yes.
be very a trustful person, do it on a respectful way. Do you achieve your goals by working with each other, or do you more focus on your own and you do everything to make your own, yeah, very successful in the end and just ignore the
Yes.
other ones, things like that. But to be honest, I always had problems when we should implement that to really make sure how
Mm-hmm.
can we track that without
Mm-hmm.
using the nose factor because it's so,
Mm-hmm.
how should we measure that,
It's
you
very
know?
subjective. It's not objective.
Yes, exactly.
It's
That
not,
was the
it cannot
discussion.
be. Yes. So I have to say, I mean, we are, as I guess, it's very difficult to implement in any company, no matter
Yeah,
of the size as well, because it's not something tangible.
exactly.
You know, it's not something that you can now say like, uh, you have done this and this and this, and you should have, done this and this. Or like, for example, the one thing I truly hate is micromanagement. With micromanagement, you cannot teach anything anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like you always and I always say you have to um, treat again. I think I mentioned that treat someone as you want to be treated. Give him or her a freedom enough. Have you fostered that? Have you like talk about it openly without being tracking it or attacking or it's very like a couple of times in couple of my colleagues were not really nice to other colleagues in the call.
Yeah.
The one thing I did immediately called them out separately.
Mm-hmm.
And because these people might not even notice it that they have done that, but it came across very disrespectful.
Yeah.
And if you don't call out that behavior immediately, it just goes away. Like it's forgotten and it's not going to be. And for some people, that's the normal way of working. For me, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to create that awareness. And what is the right thing? Don't hold them always like against that, right? You can say it once and that's okay. Let it go. Twice. The third time you can already say, hey, I
Mm-hmm.
already told you twice, and this is not something I'm supporting. And this is where you can measure it. You know,
Yeah.
if you once my old manager said to me, if you can put a number behind it, the number speaks the most.
Mm-hmm.
The number. And I always try to think about it like once and twice, I will let it go.
Yeah.
The third time,
Mm-hmm.
I won't.
Yeah.
I'm already going to pick it up. And that's what I mean. So, how it's very difficult to measure, but if you don't call it out, it won't change.
Sure. I
You
mean,
know,
feedback. It's feedback is very, very
Absolutely.
important.
Feedback is super important. And don't talk around the person, talk to the person.
Yes.
And otherwise, our CEO is always, it's very much vocal about it. I personally believe the same
Mm-hmm.
as well. And I do think that you need to call it out, whether it's good or bad. And you should not shy away. As a manager and with your accountability, you should also have difficult conversations because otherwise you won't change anything. And
Absolutely.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you just have to separate ways, which is okay. Not, like in marriage, you divorce at some point of time, right?
Yeah.
If you do. It is what it is. But I do think that how is even more so important than what.
Yes. I agree because I mean that's also what you will make visible in the team, right? How they work together with each other, how
Mhm.
they support each other. I just had this as a yeah, remember moment because I had to deal with it once.
Mhm.
So and I think that's really interesting because you said that pretty cool that you said it's interesting how often you have to talk with people about it. That's also a kind of measurable situation, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not like you need to track it, it's
No,
like you don't
you
want to
see it.
track, you don't make an Excel sheet and you're tracking,
Yeah.
oh, this person said that and this person said that, and no, but as long as you call it out and you just kind of write it and say, hey, let's give it a rest now, and
Yeah.
please let's, focus on that. And people start embedding it. If you call it enough, then they will realize, oh, maybe that was not so nice. Maybe I should have said something else. Maybe I should have rephrased it.
Yeah.
You will never hear from me anymore. This is what you did well, and this is what you didn't do well. That doesn't resonate with people. What you say is like things you can improve. And it's an immediately different vibe, and it's an
Mhm.
immediately different acceptance of the same, right? And then you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'm
It's
not
not,
as bad. I could do it better. And then you pay attention to it.
yeah, no finger pointing.
So, exactly. Never do that. Never do that because it doesn't reflect good on you. Just doesn't.
That's right. So what I understand is that you also have to focus on the individuals and their, let's say, their own growth to really also make it possible that the team as a whole can grow and can be
Yes.
committed.
Yes. We are all different individuals. We all have different interests. And actually, how do you make the team out of it? You know, um, there was one time, I don't know if you are in football, probably Ivan is as well.
Oh, I'm a little more.
Yeah, so, and the Croatian national football team.
Oh,
You
there
have had,
he's the expert.
sorry, there
I
is
would
an
say he's the
expert.
expert there.
So ask him, when Dalic came, and before that, we had exactly the same players. Exactly the same players before Dalic.
Okay.
So what did Dalic did differently when he became a coach with exactly the same players?
I don't know.
What was different?
Maybe his behavior.
Maybe he was expecting from them something else. Maybe he was bringing them something else. I'm not saying because Dalic is coming from my hometown or he's actually married here, but and I know him. But I actually asked that Rakitic when he came to our company as well, and he said he just gave us a space.
Hmm.
They're all individuals. They were exactly the same individuals with all the coaches before, and yet with Dalic we won what? Couple of medals already, and before we were hardly even ever in a first eight, God forbid.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to like how do you make a team out of such a strong individuals as well. And I think you have to let each one of them show what they have, believe in themselves, and do something maybe completely independent of football
Yeah.
and bond them and give them that trust that they rely on each other, that they will cover if the striker is miss the ball, then you all run in the defense and not one player. Everybody runs in the defense. And I think that's something that it's a hard work. It is a hard work. But again, if you love what you do, it will become easy. I wonder what Ivan says now.
I will ask him in a few minutes. I will ask him. But I think it's interesting that you say that because it sounds like it's also part of the manager's job to really ensure that everybody's playing on the right position and has
Absolutely.
the space, let's say, to really do what they can best, right?
Absolutely. Use the strength and build the weaknesses. Build on weaknesses, but use where they are the most strong.
Yeah.
Because first of all, they will be confident, and they are closing then the gap a lot better and a lot faster than the ones that have a bigger gap and they just feel uncomfortable
Mm.
because then it's highly likely they will leave and maybe they're in the wrong job in the first place, right? But if you bring them in the right positions, they will perform in the right positions. We just have to connect them the best way possible.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a kind of basic work, I would say, for a manager to really see what is the qualification of my people, what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, and really check what kind of position do I have in the team and where do they fit best. I mean, if you take over a team, I think that should be one of the first tasks you need to do, right? To analyze your team, to get a better understanding of the people, the individuals, how they behave, what they think, how they think, maybe sometimes also, and really make
Yeah.
sure that you support them to grow on their way, and to make it a better fit in the whole team, because that's what I realized when I worked in HR, that we have a lot of really good qualified people but they are sitting on the wrong places, right?
Yes, absolutely. I have a very, very amazing individual. Amazing. He's so good in what he does, and he's super senior as well. But he's very introvert.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I did it and I go home now, and he's very shy in what he's showing. But honestly, he speaks up and is like, okay, this, and this. And it's very difficult in today's culture to promote him because he doesn't show that confidence. As if you want to grow, you also have to show a little bit more confidence, etc.
Yeah.
You know, it is, I mean, it's sometimes perception is the reality, right? And in his case, we said, okay, how do we enable him to go on a stage and speak up? So actually, this week on Thursday, they have a conference in Porto location. And he will talk about 20 minutes. He has his 20 minutes to talk about the achievement of the project, which is his baby. It's the thing that he does.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely sure he will rock because it's something. And then, you give him the space, you give him a topic that he's totally and, know about, and then he can grow the confidence and be more a spokesman and more going out of his shell as well by speak about what he loves the most.
Yeah.
And then you just give him another 20 minutes and then another half an hour to be able to say, yeah, you are now ready for a higher position. You know,
So you make the
it's
stage for him to go this
exactly,
next step.
exactly, because it's not like he's chasing the new role or a higher role, not at all, but
Yeah.
he deserves it. He deserves it because of the knowledge and the amazing individual as he is as well. And I just want him to build that confidence that as much as we believe in him,
Mm-hmm.
he needs to believe in himself as well. And that's one way of doing it. If somebody knows the better way, I would love to hear it.
Yeah.
But that's what he will do actually this week.
So fingers crossed. But it sounds like you are very convinced that he will do it in
Oh
a
God,
very good way.
yes. Oh God, yes. I wish he would share at least half of my belief. Maybe he does, but he's not aware of it yet. So let's bring it on up to the on surface.
Yeah, but that's really one of the secrets, maybe, if you want to build a committed team, to really ensure that you have confident individuals in the team who really know about their knowledge, their qualification, and their value for the team, right? I think that's also something important, that they know that they are a very important part of the whole team, and that the team cannot
Yes,
be successful without them.
yes, yes, absolutely. The team is as strong as every individual, right? I don't know how we say it in Croatia, the chain, the weakest part of the chain. I don't remember anymore. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. I forgot. But they all have to be super strong to actually have a strong chain, right?
Yeah.
So
I think that's a perfect ending for our podcast today. So I
it
always
has
have
been
a
fun.
I always have a last question to our guest, and of
Ooh.
course, I will ask that to you also. You shared already a story, maybe that is part of your answer, I'm not sure. But you said it's also a lot about learning, right? Learning yourself, learning others, a kind of journey of learning, I would say, to become a good team manager or team leader. But what did you learn actually, or yeah, let's say within the last time, where you can say that that was one of the learnings you would like to share with our listeners?
Hmm. What would be the first thing that comes to my mind? I do believe that every person learns every day something,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's big or small. I think in the work context, um, you are only as successful as your team is. That would probably be, and it's not really a new learning. It's like something that you just carry with yourself all the time. The personal one, maybe it will sound funny, but I know how to replace the tire on the bike, believe it or not.
That's pretty cool. So that's cool.
Yes. Um, but I do think that, every day is a learning and just never stop learning and be open for the new things, right? And that's what I believe for myself as well. And it's never too late, right? But I also try to teach that others as well. Never stop learning. Everything is learning.
Perfect. That's
Would
the
that be
perfect
would
answer.
that be the right answer?
I don't know. Every answer is right because whatever you
That's
learned
true.
and you can share it, that's the right answer. So
That's true. That's very
absolutely.
true.
So
Just my advice to everyone, never stop learning.
perfect. Those are the perfect last words, I would say. So, thank you very much, Manuela, that you have been with us
Thank
in this
you.
podcast. Thank you for your time and all the insights. I think that's pretty cool that you shared so much insights on how to build a committed team. So, everyone who has challenges with it, please listen to this episode again and just write down some ideas because you shared a lot. And I really appreciate you made the time and you shared all your knowledge with us. Thank you very much.
Of course. And thank you for having me as well.
Thank
It
you.
was really fun. My very
Same for
first
me.
podcast, by the way.
Yeah, pretty cool. You always need to have a starter, right?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Take
Bye bye.
care.
Puno
Ciao,
hvala.
ciao. Hvala i vama.